Hey, this is Billy Frades. In this video, I want to share with you how you can write a book in literally less than 24 hours. You might think that sounds crazy, insane, or impossible, or you might be very skeptical, and I understand that. But I want to share with you in this video my experience with being able to write a book, fast within 24 hours. I'm going to share with you how you can do it as well. I'm going to give you some practical, useful tips because I've developed a method here of what's been working for me and so many people, and I want to share with you, with you guys just how this works to kind of change your paradigm around it, so that hopefully, if you wanted to write a book like your entire life, you can actually produce a book, write it, get it up there, and start selling it, and making money because I have so many people that come to me and they say, I want to write a book, but they just don't have the time. Or they might say they're not a great writer or whatever it might be. And the truth is that there are ways to do it fast and efficiently. Actually writing it yourself, not even necessarily having to outsource it and hire someone else to do it for you. That's an option as well. But a lot of people want to write their own books, and I outsource a lot of my books. But I also, have books that I've written myself, and these are the books that I'm talking about that I wrote in less than 24 hours. And the benefit of writing a book yourself is that you can build your own brand and you can build your own name, which is a very powerful thing. So I want to share with you guys a little bit about my method. But before I do, I want to share with you my experience in writing books. Now, the first book that I wrote was called A Beginner's Guide on How to Make Money Online. I do a lot of work from home type of online businesses where I'm at here in New York, where I also taught like seminars on how to work from home and make money online. And so I had this idea that I'm gonna write a book, and I remember that book taking me several months to write. I remember wanting this book to be so perfect, and I was being like so anal about all the little things from it. And I remember just the task of writing a book for so many people, to be so intimidating that I, you know, end up putting it off and procrastinating, or they'll get like writer's block. They're not in the right mentality or headspace, and so I can relate to that. But when you see people talk about that it takes so long to write a book, it's not that it actually takes a long time to write the book. It's more so the procrastination and everything that happens with people in putting off the writing in the process of actually creating the book. I want to share with you guys what happened for me is that I spent several months writing it. I wanted my friends, my family, and everyone to proofread it. And when I actually launched the book, it turns out that the book didn't, do as well as I thought. I didn't know how to market it the right way and do the research, and so I ended up investing in a few months and all this time, energy, and effort to write this book, and not getting much of a return on it. So I was really disappointed in it. And then one thing that's really changed for me in my life that I think has been like a core component in helping me, have a lot of success in my life is a concept that I've called speed of implementation, which means when I have an idea or a thought or something that I have a potential to make money from, such as a book idea or whatever, whatever it is, I've been very fast in executing that and taking massive action and creating something of value. And that's a skill set that I've kind of developed. And part of what I'm going to teach you guys in order to write a book is developing that habit of being able to execute things fast, quickly, and efficiently. And there's a few things that have to happen for you to adopt that kind of mindset. So I figured, why not teach this to other people? Because I know so many people that want to write a book, but there's so many reasons and excuses that hold them back from being able to do that. So I wanted to share that and coming back to that speed of implementation concept, that's really the key, and that's the main thing that I want to teach you guys today. I want to share a little bit of my belief about Kindle books or selling books or writing books just for a moment as well. I think a lot of people, when they think of writing a book, they think of it as being a book that's going to be hundreds of pages and it's going to be this epic, high quality book with, perfect grammar and spelling, and it's going to be this incredible thing that's going to take them a year to write. Also, that is going to be this long process, and they're going to sell it for maybe $10 or $15, and they're just going to put it out there. And I want to change. I want to challenge that paradigm a little bit because I don't fully believe in that model of writing a book. I've been involved in Kindle publishing for some time now. I published some books. I've got a method of outsourcing books, and I've also written some of these books myself and with Kindle. And the way that the world has been changing in terms of people consuming information on like e-readers, like Kindle devices, or you might have heard of like Nook or Kobo or SmashRate, or all of these different e-readers, or maybe even on their iPhone or their iPad. That's how people are consuming information these days. And now the interesting thing about books is that less than 10% of people that buy a book even read past the first chapter of it. Why is that? Why aren't people reading these books? I'm sure you can, maybe relate to this. I know if I can, I've got books on my bookshelf that I thought that, I wanted to read, and, they're still sitting there, and, I haven't even read them. The reason is because people are intimidated by the process of reading that gigantic book, a book that is more than like 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages, or whatever. I mean, they're going to put that off. They'll procrastinate, or they'll start it, but they won't finish it. I mean, can you relate to this? Have you ever bought a book, started reading a book and not finished it? Well, I think we all have. But what I believe that sells better and actually adds more value to customers and potential customers is having shorter books, books that are easily consumable by people, that people can buy, and buy it at a much cheaper price point. So if you had a book that's maybe 30 pages long, 40 pages, maybe 50 pages, you might not sell that at the same price point that's 300 pages, but you might, because it doesn't really matter how long the book is. It's the quality of information in it. So the length of the book does not determine the value of it. I mean, I know great books that are 20 pages that, in my opinion, are worth hundreds of dollars. There's this great book called It Works. It's like a little 10-page pamphlet book, and you can read it in like 10 minutes. And in my opinion, that little book, It Works, can change your life. I know it's changed my life in so many ways. It says to do three things in order to achieve anything that you want. I mean, it's a great book. Just go to Amazon and type in It Works. You read it in 10 minutes, but it's such a valuable book. I think it's more valuable than a lot of books that are like 300 pages. So, what I'm trying to get across to you is that the length of the book doesn't really matter. Fire engine going by. Sorry about it. In fact, I mean, the length, like I said, the length of the book doesn't really matter. I mean, I'd even go as far to say that having like shorter, easily like consumable books at a lower price point is actually more beneficial to customers, consumers, and readers. And not only that, but also thinking about, instead of having a 100-page book or 300-page book or whatever. I mean, taking that book and chunking it down into shorter consumable books and creating like a series of books, because that's what sells better on Kindle. For example, if you had this long book on dating advice for men, maybe it's a 100-page book or more, and you sold that book for $10. What would be a better way to sell that book would be to create four books out of that and have each of them be 25 pages, and each book being on a specific part of the process of dating. So maybe the first book can be 25 pages on how to approach a woman. The next book could be about how to have a conversation. The third book could be, about how to build attraction. The fourth book can be about how to get a phone number or how to get a date. And you can like sell each of those books or 25 pages, maybe sell them for 2.99 on like Amazon or Kindle, and that would be a better way of doing it. So I believe that you can help people more by having shorter books, having excuse me, a series of books. And it's also been proven that it can actually make you more money doing it that way. Because if someone buys the first book and they like it and they read it, they're going to buy the next book and the entire series of books from you. So, part of my method is writing shorter books, and it doesn't have to be like, a 25-page book. It could be a 50-page book or even a 100-page book, like some people have done. But my mindset around writing a book has generally been that this book is essentially going to be a series of like blog posts, a series, articles. I kind of chunk it down in that way because really a book, if you break it down, has a certain number of chapters. So maybe you have like 10 chapters in the book or 8 chapters in the book. Each of those chapters, for me, the way that I look at it as a blogger is just going to be like a blog post. And I've got some experience now writing blog posts and articles and all that sort of stuff. And so for me, I just have to produce, if it's like an 8 chapter book, I just have to produce like 8 blog posts. And I know in my case, it takes me about an hour of sitting down and writing to produce one blog post. Now, you might say, hey, Bill, you're a great writer. You've been writing for some time now, or maybe you're a fast typer. I don't have that ability that you do. What they found is that the average writer or typer types around 55 words per minute. I can personally type around 80 to 100 words per minute. But 55 words per minute, that means that that's about double the time that it's gonna take take me or take you. So I mean, you can do it. So if it takes me 1 hour to write a blog post, I think you can do it in like 2 hours. But that's just kind of how I chunk it. That's kind of how I frame it. Of just this is gonna be a series of blog posts, and that's it. I'm gonna like map out the chapters of it, and that's really the first step is coming up with a topic, mapping out the chapters that you want, doing the research on it. In fact, you don't have to know anything about the topic that you're going to do a book on. You can actually do all the research on the internet today. Everything is free, and there's a process for doing that as well. You can like research everything, fund everything that you want, and basically create the chapters, and then be able to write them in yourself. But that's part of the method that I go through. I'm going to share with you another technique or tactic that you can use that's really helped me when it comes down to that speed implementation, and that is using a timer. I'll either use like my phone, or my iPhone. Where's my iPhone? Well, you get it. My phone, which has a timer on it, or I'll use something called like an egg timer on my computer, or laptop. And what a timer does is it creates like a sense of urgency, and it makes you work more efficiently as well as in a short period of time. Like many times, what happens is people end up surfing the internet or they end up working aimlessly. They're not aware of the time, and I'm sure you can relate to this. Where hours go by and you're working on something and you're looking back and you're like, what happened? How did the time go by so fast? I didn't even get whatever done in that amount of time. Well, it's because they weren't working on a focused and efficient way. So what having a timer does is you set the time maybe to write one of these chapters of your book within an hour, and you're not going to be a perfectionist, because trying to be perfect is what stops people from following through. So there's no such thing as being perfect. It's impossible. It's basically the lowest standard you can have because it's not achievable. So really, it's just a way to beat yourself up and procrastinate and put things off. So what I do is I say, you know what? I'm gonna write a chapter of a book in 1 hour. Here's my timer. I'm gonna find a way to do it. And you know what? There's gonna be spelling errors, grammatical errors. This is just gonna be a draft. I'm not going to, filter my thoughts. I'm just gonna let it flow. So you're writing for the waste bin is what they say. So you're, purposely trying to make sure that it's not perfect because when you have that perfectionism filter and you're micromanaging every thought and everything that you're writing, then you're gonna keep hitting like backspace on your keyboard and trying to correct everything because you're micromanaging things and trying to make things perfect. So you set like a timer, 1 hour, I'm gonna write this, and you just sit down, you write as fast as you can, and you just let it flow out of you. Maybe you have a document with all your research that you've done and you've gone over. That's another thing that I do is, I have all the research and stuff specifically on that chapter that I can go through and refer back to, and I might do some research while I'm writing as well. It's just on Google, but I give myself that time of an hour because it creates that urgency and it forces me to remind myself, I got to work fast. I got to get this done by this time. Now, what's going to happen is by the end of the hour, you're going to have a chapter finished in the book. And it's not going to be perfect. And that's okay. That's exactly what we didn't want. We don't want it to be perfect because, there's going to be grammar errors, spelling errors, all that sort of stuff. But you're going to have it. You're going to have a draft of it. And then all you're going to do is just modify, tweak it, proofread it, and revise it, which is part of my method as well. You can do much faster, but the core essence of it, of what you want to communicate and get across, will be there, and that's really the key. So that's another part of my process is really making sure you don't have the mindset of being perfect. Because when I look back at when it took me months to write a book, I was actually doing people a disservice by taking that long to write my book because it was really my issues that I had to deal with of worrying about all the perfectionisms and all of those little things. Because most of the people that will read the book, wouldn't even notice the things that I was so worried about. Same thing in recording this video right now. I'm not perfect recording this video. I've made mistakes. I've been a little bit all over the place and all over the place and stuff like that. But it's still something that can add value to you and help you. If it took me a year to record this video, maybe I can make it more perfect than it is now. But you guys will be missing out, and you wouldn't be receiving the value that you're getting from me. And so that's actually like what's called the 80-20 principle, meaning that you want to focus on the 80%. You want to focus on the most important part, actually the 20%. All the little things that most people aren't even going to notice don't even matter. I'm going to share one more tip because this video is getting a little bit long and I want to kind of wrap up soon. But one more tip. Let's say that you aren't a good writer. You can't write. That's okay. You can always write it yourself and then have someone else proofread it and revise it for you, and that is an option as well. And you can do that quickly and fast. But another option as well, and I've done this with a book too, is you can use a dictation software. Meaning, if you can just basically speak, if you can just speak a chapter and just exactly what I'm doing right now, I'm just speaking to a camera, whatever, or you can speak to your phone and record it. Speak to your computer and record it. You can use a dictation software that'll actually transcribe your words and the audio of that and turn it into a book. Or, you could just record it and hire a transcriber to do that for you. This is a method that I learned from someone called Dean Jackson. He has a book called the 90-minute book, and basically all he does is he has someone interview him or he speaks about something for like 90 minutes, and then he has it transcribed into a book, and then he sells that. So that's another method as well. You don't have to physically sit down and write. You can have somebody transcribe it for you, or use a dictation software, that's like a computer robot that transcribes the audio for you, and then use that as a book and sell it. and help people with it. And one thing I learned from Dean Jackson is that you want to be able to communicate your ideas in an efficient way, meaning that it shouldn't take you 300 pages to communicate what you're trying to get across. You want to use less words, a shorter book to communicate that same message, and just get rid of the fluff and add value. What I'm recording to you guys right now, I mean, I hope you're receiving value from it. I hope you guys are actually benefiting from this, but I could actually take this audio from it and have it transcribed, and I can actually turn it into a Kindle book and maybe sell it for like 99 cents or 2.99, depending on how long it is and how much value I feel that it warrants. So the value that I'm communicating to you guys right now on video and audio right now, this could be something that I can turn into a book and sell it. It could help people, and I'm sure people will leave great reviews on it and even benefit from it, just like you guys are benefiting from it right now. And watching it, hopefully, still. I mean, if you're still watching it, you're benefiting from this. But it's the same method and like the same mentality. I know that that's a little bit scattered right now, but this is a bit of my method in my thoughts and my strategies and my tips and techniques that have allowed me to write a book fast, like literally within 24 hours. Now, you don't have to write a book in 24 hours like me. You can if you want. You can do it in a weekend or a week. That's totally fine. But I actually decided to use a course teaching people exactly how to do this, like step by step. In fact, this process has been actually broken down to a 10-step process. So if you're watching this right now and you're like, hey, this is awesome, I want to write a book. Great. That there's a course, and that when if you buy the course, it's actually, inexpensive, very cheap. It's a great quality course that you can go through and apply. And there are videos and PDFs with it where there's like a step-by-step process where you'll be helped to write a book in 24 hours. It goes over the entire 10-step method with you. You watch like one video at a time. You follow the steps. Not until you've done that step, then you move on to the next step. It's broken down, so we're actually there with you and like guiding you. It's almost like there we're there in your house, holding your hand and being like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this together. We're going to do step one. This is what you're going to do, and you will get the assignment, the homework, and then we move on to step two. And then by the end of the 24 hours or by the end of the day or whatever, you'll have a book done and ready to be published and ready to be making money from. So this is a course and that was created, and I want to tell you about it and invite you to buy it if you're the kind of person that wants to write a book. It's a great method that we've come up with, and it's the exact method that I personally do. Funny thing is that this course was created in less than 24 hours as well, and they kind of joke about that in the program because it really just helps you execute and take action, not just in writing a book, but probably anything else you want to do. If you want to create your own course or your own video like me or whatever, we share with you that method that we have, that we go through, that allows me to produce content fast, even if you're not a good writer and even if you don't know anything about the topic of what you want to create a book on. We still share with you how you can do it and how you can do it fast and efficiently. So this is a course that being released, where there'll be like specific dates of when this course will be available, but it's gonna be coming up pretty soon here. I'll give you guys a link to the website, and you can go to and go purchase the course if you want. It's going to be offered a limited time discount at the beginning, kind of like an early bird, kind of get in the door sort of thing. It isn't excuse me, it's not expensive at all. The purpose of the course is to get you to, and it's not a lengthy course either. It's a 10 step method, but it's something that you're going to consume in like less than a day as well, because the whole purpose is to get you to write a book fast. But my goal, or the goal, is that if you actually applied it and if you actually do it, you'll get incredible value out of it, and you'll be able to produce a high quality book that helps people in less than 24 hours and be successful. at this, and you'll have your very own book that you can now make money from it. You can put it up on Kindle or Amazon or anywhere on the internet, and you can produce you'll be producing passive income from that effort that you put forward. So it's a pretty cool feeling that you spent the time to create something, and that one book or that one piece of your work is going to be on the internet for the rest of your life, for 100 years if you want, and it's going to add value to people, and it's going to continue to pay you a residual. Excuse me, I can't say that word. It's going to continue to pay you a residual, consistent, passive income, month after month after month. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check the link in the description. Go buy this course when it's out. I mean, it's definitely going to help you. And if not, if you're like, hey, screw this, I don't want to write a book. I just want to outsource them. That's totally cool too. But I thought I'd provide a method and share with you guys what I personally do and what's worked for me, to be able to write my own books. If you want to go down that path. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.